I think about fishing the Great Lakes in spring, what I often think about is things like trolling crankbaits or trolling spinners. So when my good friend Dale Stroschein gave me a call and he said, hey, why don't you come up and do something completely different this spring? I said, well, what's that? He said, how about some rip jigging in deep water? I love to jig. I love going for big fish. So when I got the invite, I was here. So we're gonna go out on Green Bay, which is part of Lake Michigan. We're gonna be fishing deep, and we're gonna be having a ball getting the next bite.
Look at this! Now you know why they get so big.
I'm just looking for the next bite, next bite, next bite, next bite. I'm just looking for the next bite.
We'll continue to show you the next bite.
Jigging can be one of the most versatile techniques used for catching walleyes.
I think you'll want to get the net for this one, Dale.
On the one hand, it's easy to learn, fun to do, and works in many different conditions.
Here he comes up. Here he comes out. Here he comes around. There he goes down.
But on the other hand, it's also a finesse-based technique, one that can take many years to come even close to being considered mastered.
This one was obviously hungry.
Yeah, you figure?
He's not a real fatty, but he wanted that 4-inch minnow there.
But this Green Bay walleye rip jigging bite isn't about having something up your sleeve as a pro tournament angler or even a guide.
Up the sleeve.
Because real success for this type of walleye bite is all about thinking the basics of the situation through in order to be as effective as possible with each cast.
It's a little bit tricky fishing out this deep. You're going to be fishing a little bit heavier jig, about a 3/8, and you first of all want to make a pretty long cast because the water is clear, so you want to get away from the boat, but you also want to have some room to work that jig back. Now the first thing I do when that jig hits the water is I start to count. And the reason that I do that is sometimes, especially if it's a little windy out, it's hard to tell when that jig hits the bottom in deep water. And pretty much with a 3/8 ounce jig, if you count, each second will be a foot of drop. So if you know you're casting up into about 20-25 feet of water, you're probably going to have to count down 20 or 25 counts. So once you know it hit the bottom, then the next thing is to simply pop that jig pretty aggressively up off the bottom. You want to get that fish's attention. So you pop it up off the bottom, but then after you pop it up, you want to hold your rod up in the air and let that jig swim towards you on a tight line. Now the key is out here is the water is cold. It's 48, 50 degree water, so they're not going to just pound it all the time. In fact, they bite it 3 different ways we found out here. The first one is if that jig is swimming towards you on a tight line, if they happen to bite it while it's swimming towards you, you will get the classic tick bite. They're sucking it in, it's a tight line, tunk, you'll feel that bite. The second one that you're going to get is when you go to lift that jig off the bottom, many times they're sucking it right off the bottom. This is called a presence bite. Basically, they've grabbed it. When you go to lift, there's a presence or a weight, set the hook. I'm setting into a rock, the edge of a rock. Something happened down there where I feel a little weight or presence, I set the hook. Hopefully that rock starts swimming. Now the third thing is, and this really is something that Dale talks a little bit about, is getting a bite on the up. And basically what's happening sometimes there is I think that fish is sitting there looking at that jig on the bottom, and when you go to sweep it up, that first little movement, tail just starting to twitch and swim, that fish is sitting there in position, he grabs it, and you actually, as you're coming up, get a bite. So you're gonna have to feel for 3 different bites. We're using sensitive rods, we're using no stretch line, and right away when we feel anything, setting the hook and getting these fish in the boat.
Here, come on.
Just a jumped. I don't know how big he is. Pretty slow head shake. Deep, holy man, 28 feet that says.
Like I said, they've been running around pretty deep.
My jig was just dropping through the water, and all of a sudden the line just jumped. I didn't even really feel it, you know, in that deep water.
You know, that's one of those advantages of going over to the nano fill with the bright color like that, or the
Right.
fire line, because, you know, these things, when they hit it on the descent, you just see that tick and just set the hook.
Well, in this deep water especially. A decent one. Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I guess we know why he was hunkering down now, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, baby. Look at how he gobbled that thing up.
Oh, yeah, I just pounded
That
it.
4-inch minnow is gone. I mean, it's gone. They don't exactly need real natural looking colors here. We got pink, we got purple, we got pink and white tail. He liked it though, he liked it a lot. That's a good fish there. Nice and stout and heavy.
You know, and I like the fact that this one gave you the tick.
Oh yeah.
Because that tells us one thing, the water's warmed up and they're on the munch.
Nice. We like munching walleyes. I like munching walleyes. I like them a lot.
The next bite is brought to you by Mercury, #1 on the water. Amsoil, the first in synthetics. Tracker Boats, fish, the finest. Bass Pro Shops, your adventure starts here. Berkeley, catch more fish. Mustang, stay sharp longer. Lowrance, find, navigate, dominate. Motor Guide, never stop. Strike King, #1 in fishing lures. And Power Pole, swift, silent, secure.